Welcome back. We are entering a period now where the nation is so divided that even a Sunday morning interview can become controversial, such as the exchange several Sundays back as Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson tried to walk back comments he had made that appeared to be critical of President Trump.
Exactly why President Trump is upset and why his supporters are upset at the news media.
Okay, this is not about the media. Senator Johnson, Senator Johnson, please. Can we please answer the question that I asked you?
We talked with the moderator of TV's longest-running program, Meet the Press, Chuck Todd. I have to ask you a little bit about the process of the show. How difficult is it now to be a fan, a devotee of the institutions of government, and seek that in your interviews, while at the same time being said that by doing that, you are a partisan?
You know, Conan, in a weird way, you're poking at me personally, and I say this not in a negative way. You're right. I love these. I sort of, in some ways, lionize the institutions. I'd like to think that I care about them, and I care about them living and care about them going forward. So, yes, I think there is a concern that when you try to tell viewers, this isn't a policy dispute. This is against the American system. When you try to explain that some things here, we're not describing left-right, we're describing this is the American system and doing this is outside the American democratic system, I think that that's been the difficult line, right? And you're right, I think the viewer sees it. If you're contradicting what the president is saying, then they assume you're an opponent, rather than just saying, hey, just because I'm contradicting this doesn't mean I'm pro that. We're trying to explain right from wrong. And I think, unfortunately, right and wrong has blurred into left and right, and that's a dangerous place for us to be.
The nation's been through plenty of traumatic events over its history. There was, of course, 1860. Impeachment has been tried before, but is it fair to say that it's nothing like we're about to see?
I was 2 in 1974. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and claim I know for sure the same feelings about what was happening in the 70s, and so I don't. However, it does feel as if between social media, the speed with which news or information travels, the fact that information itself is a war is sort of part of the warfare, if you will. I do think we haven't had this divisive of a time, I think, since the 19th century, when we had, because it wasn't since the 19th century that we had we had people that lived in multiple different bubbles and never knew what the other side was saying. Well, back then it was because the technology didn't allow for it. Technology now allows for us to know what everybody's thinking, but instead we're choosing to stay in these sort of tribal natures. So I am concerned that it looks a lot like the divides that we had historically in the 19th century.
What is your hope?
What is my hope? My hope is that the democratic institutions are perceived to have worked, that the guardrails get dented, the guardrails get beaten up. I have a street right around the corner where I live where the guardrail gets knocked down all the time, and we always put it back up. That's my hope, that yes, we may knock down a guardrail or two, but we still erect it. I am a believer that as long as the perception is the voters had the final say in this, we're probably going to be fine.
But as Betty Davis would say, get ready, buckle up, it's going to be a rocky road.
If it's a road. As I've said, I quote Doc Brown, where we're going, there are no roads.
Chuck Todd, thanks very much.
Thank you, Conan.
Meet the Press every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock here on NBC4. We'll have final comments after this.